Good afternoon and welcome to the Cruise Amigos, live from Forest, Virginia. And then over there, he's in Crookston, Minnesota.
Not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Yes, indeed. Amigo John, what's happening?
It's been a tumultuous week. It has been separate from, when family members are at the end of their life and you go through that. Of course, that's the high trauma that any of us face. But do we want to make note that Amigo Martin is trying to join us?
Yeah, that's amazing.
But, even when that's happening, with my religious beliefs, it's like it's not the end. But this last week has been legal, lawyers, testimony, county meetings, trying to create a moratorium that basically puts us out of business. And the good news is that when it's all said and done, clearer heads prevailed. And even though there's a moratorium, it's sort of like, well, but it doesn't apply to you because you've already been in business. So, on the one hand, there's lots of jokes there and could react and everything. But on the other hand, I guess you can say we succeeded in the fact that our operation, our investment, our future development is not at risk. And so that's the good news. And we're happy about that. And we thank the players that, helped us get there. But
Yeah.
I don't, it's like walking across the Grand Canyon. You got to decide how many times you want to do that in your life.
Yeah.
So,
All right. I don't know if Martin,
well, I think that's his commitment. He called in.
he
We
was
saw him.
frozen, but I got no message. And then he disappeared. I
Oh,
don't know if he got mad at us because you were in the middle of a sentence.
no.
No, he
It's
wouldn't do
just,
that.
it's got to be electronic. Either that or his gin ran dry. That
Well,
has
no, that's a good possibility. It could have
that
been
has
his gym.
precedence. Yeah.
Well, I do have a couple things to share.
I can't wait. Talk to me. Talk to me.
I tried to run two cruises together, and that's going to make a little bit of a troubling travel schedule.
See what he did? You're supposed to do this. He didn't even do this, folks. He's done this.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's a piece of cake. So basically, when I leave here in 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
I think it's exactly 2 weeks. It's on the 23rd. Today is what's today's the 9th and
Today
14th is
would be the
23.
ninth.
It's 2 weeks from today. I sail out of Baltimore. Now, first of all, we got to hope that it's not freaking snowing in February in Baltimore. I mean, that's like hoping that the sun shines in Minnesota in December.
Yeah, you never know.
So this could be a little bit dicey to start with. So I
Dicey.
get to Baltimore. Why I did that, I'll never know.
Yeah.
But at least Kevin is going to be. Kevin for 30 and a wake up.
Oh
He's going
yeah.
to be on this cruise. And
Cool.
Janie, that I just met on the Vloggers cruise, is going to be on this cruise.
Neat.
So that part will be good. And if it's that cold and icy and crappy in Baltimore, I'll at least have some people to snuggle up with and stay warm.
Well, yes, and Baltimore. I did check. They do have central heating. They have indoor plumbing, and they have doors. So
Okay.
you should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I get on the boat and we go sailing around in cold water for 8 days. We go to ports of call in Florida, which I normally sail out of, but never
Yeah.
visit. And I think we do a couple in the Bahamas, which I go to all the time.
Nice.
And then we come back to Baltimore.
Okay.
So it does give me another nice ship to do my studies on. And by the way, folks, if you are interested in accessibility reports, I just posted the accessibility report from the Norwegian Breakaway.
He's the man.
So
He's the man.
So anyway, I get back into Baltimore 8 days after I sail,
Yep.
and I jump over to the airport and get on an airplane and fly to Fort Lauderdale, because in like less than 24 hours, I have to be on another boat in Fort Lauderdale.
So
Oh,
you
there
could.
comes Martin back again. Let's see if we can get a live Martin. Oh, his fingers moved this time. Now let's see if we can get any. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Even technology, it's doing my head in. I've had to put it on my iPhone because my internet's not working properly. So, hey, there you go.
So you have an iPhone.
I've got an iPhone, yeah.
What number?
I have a cheapie. I have an Android.
Oh,
I could never afford an iPhone, and I'm not smart enough to figure out how to operate one of those damn things.
no, I've got my iPhone. I always had them since iPhone. I think it was iPhone 3, and I'm on iPhone 12. I'm on, I think, Pro Max, and then I'm trying to justify not getting the iPhone 14 Pro Max because I don't think there's that much difference. But it keeps calling me.
All right, so I was just finishing a story. However, if I had dealt with Amigo Martin, he would never have left me screw up like this.
Why? What's happened?
So anyway, I get off the boat in Baltimore.
Mm.
I jump on a plane and fly to Baltimore, and then what is that?
No, you get off the plane. You get off the boat in Baltimore and you fly to Fort
14
Lauderdale.
hours later, I have to sail on another boat out of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Then I go to San Diego through the Panama Canal. 2 weeks later, I get in San Diego.
Hmm.
I have to fly back to Fort Lauderdale, and from Fort Lauderdale back to Baltimore, because I couldn't change plane things without it costing me $1 bazillion.
God.
The chances of me getting back to Baltimore to get my car with my luggage is like 8,000 to 1. So I might as well just figure my suitcase and all my clothes are going to be gone.
Jeez.
Put an air tracker in it, and Martin can track it for you.
Yeah, put an air tag in it. Yeah, there you go.
An air tracker.
Yeah.
I have 3 or 4 of those sitting right here. Is this an air tracker? Oh no, that's a remote from the television.
$50 from Amazon, I bet. Something like that.
An air tracker. Okay.
Well, is that what it's called? Or what's the exact name, Martin?
I think it is Air Tracker. It's like AirPod, isn't it? And all that. So iPhone, Apple Tracker, actually, but that comes up with.
Yeah.
There he is back to that damn Apple stuff that I'm not smart enough to understand, Martin.
Well, if you had an Apple phone, you'd be able to get an Apple Tracker, but you decided to go for the cheaper Android version.
I'm not smart enough to do that.
Okay,
that's why I never went to Apples. I can't. I'm too damn old to learn new stuff.
It's called an air tag, and one is $30, but 4 is $99.
Yeah.
So you could put one in each suitcase and your carry-on and in your armpit, and then we'd be able to find everything that we need.
Even
there
you. Yeah, put it around your neck, Chillie, and we'll be able to find
it.
Thank
you, Jeremy. Hi, Cindy. Okay, so Jeremy answered the question. Thank you.
All
right. But I could put an Apple AirTag in and make you track it.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah. I've lost you and I don't know what's going on.
But if I get lost, no, my luggage.
If Chillie goes missing, we'll track him with my iPhone. I'll track you in Manchester. I'll tell John over in the US where you are.
Yeah, that would work. Well, you know, I was broadcasting a live stream, and in the middle of it, I somehow turned my audio off, and I'm sitting there just talking away with no audio. And Hot Air Tom called me from South Africa to tell me I had no audio. That's how I found out about it. A phone call from South Africa.
Well,
The
listen,
only
I'll
problem
tell
was
you
he was
what.
talking in Swahili. So
Yeah, so then I had to go through a translator to find out what the hell he said. But hey,
Well, I literally, I did my river cruise. I sat in my cabin with my floor-to-ceiling window and described where we were and what was going on, and did about half an hour of all actions and everything. And again, I had no sound, but no fecker told me that there was no sound. So I'm there going, and nobody could hear anything.
John, I'm afraid to ask
What was that?
what you were just that. I mean, that looks like one of those collars out of one of those
no, it's
underground
a Christmas tree. I
nightclubs.
made a Christmas tree ornament. Don't you see that it's a
No, it looks more like an
It looks,
S&M type collar for somebody.
yeah, it looks like a lady with the whips and long boots and stuff.
Oh, it's all paper clips. That's quite good, that. Now we can
Thank
see
you.
it.
Boy, he must have really been bored.
No, I think it was just
Sit
off.
there all
It was
day
obviously
and
had
put
some of
that
that
many
stuff.
paper clips together.
He had too many gummies, I
I'd
think.
but you
say the
see,
pot business
it-
wasn't good that day.
if you spin it, it gives you a message in Morse code. See, it's called "Help Me."
I think he's had too many gummy bears.
Ah, boy, I took one the other night. I'll tell you. Oof. I was having a really bad day.
Did it work?
Oh yeah, man, it really does. I mean, I don't do it very often, but when I'm having a bad day, I admit I take part in John's product on occasions, and it mellows me out. If I'm hurting, the pain goes away, and I can sleep a ton better. So,
As long as it works, as long as it's for medicinal purposes only.
that's correct. AirTags are the best for tracking luggage. There you go. Cindy knows Android has a version also.
There you
I'm
go.
not sure if it's named though. Yeah,
What are they called?
You Apple people.
Do Android AirTags and see if that
Android AirTags. I'm probably can find them there.
Yeah,
Hola Amigos from Nikki.
but there is one thing though. Some airlines are banning them.
Galaxy Smart Tags. There you go.
But some airlines are banning them, banning the use of them because of the batteries in them. Yeah, and because people know where the luggage is and they want to get it, but they can't get it because they'll say, "Well, no, we don't know where it is." Well, I can show you on my phone where it is. Go and get it now. So yeah, I think
there's no problem with the battery. They're using that as an excuse
because you know
there
where
isn't
it is.
any problem.
I think it's Turkish Airlines and Lufthansa have stopped using them. I think I don't know about any American ones. So, but hey ho.
They're made by Samsung, and they're $27 a piece, or 4 for $89.91.
But they're cheaper than AirTags then.
Yep.
So, Amigo Martin, have you ever gone on a cruise with 3 or 4 of your closest friends?
Is this the Vloggers cruise? Is it?
That was the Vloggers cruise. Oh well, that was only the part of the Vloggers cruise that managed to get up at 7 a.m. to take the damn picture. That was the problem.
Oh, I've not had that many. I've got my group. I've got the group cruise with the Cruise Monkeys coming up, and I'm taking a few of my friends on that one. We did the Virgin one. We had a few on that, So I've got my own little fan club that come with me.
Nice.
And anybody else can join the fan club if they want to come, if you're over this way. So we're going to the beautiful places of Portland on the Jurassic Coast and Cherbourg in France.
Oh yeah.
Be nice.
Lots of cheese. That's the cheese. That's the cheese.
You have to raise your little finger over there, right? Cherbourg.
Yeah.
You got to do those numbers. All right. So, what else is happening? That was me and Tony.
Who's Tony? I saw this picture. Who is it?
Yeah, that's La Lida Loca. He's one of the big guys on this side of the pond. And let's see. That's our friend Eddie. Yo Brooklyn in the house, Eddie. And that's me with nautical nurse Nancy that I called naughty nurse Nancy. I won't say anything about
Nikki.
that. And that's me with the JJ Crew gang that was on that one. What else I got here? There's Don.
Lovely.
And that's they were the big guys that did all of the major presenting and stuff. And that was Josh, who was the MC of the whole thing and did a just masterful job.
It was good fun, was it?
It was well worth the money. It was well worth going on. Even though I did not make some of the sessions because they conflicted with my shows, but I've made some of the other sessions and they were just excellent.
So here's a question then. That many vloggers on a cruise, what was the internet like?
I had no problem at all. Now, this was a ship that has Starlink.
Okay.
So it does have the new system. This was the ship that it was tried on for Norwegian. And as far as I know, Norwegian has not, at least they haven't made a public declaration that they're switching. But it sure as hell worked good with that many people, because all of them were broadcasting, live streaming, uploading film, all the stuff you do on a ship. And I had no problems. I never, to my knowledge, ever had a break anywhere.
That's good.
On anything.
Good to know.
And a couple times from my cabin, which, if you're going to have a screw up, it's normally there. But yeah, it was great.
Yes, more children are conceived in cabins than on the deck. That's definitely the truth.
Most random things.
You said if you're going to have a screw up, it's definitely going to be there, and it's like that's very true. That more kids are born from the cabin than just
6 feet over my head once again.
Just wanted to point it out.
I'm a little slow, guys.
I got it eventually. Slow
on the uptake.
So, when are you off next?
Me, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from today, and then I'll be gone like almost a month. And that's a crazy one to, Baltimore and twice and San Diego and yeah.
So and I mean that's 2 different ships, is it? Over the 4 weeks, yeah.
2 different lines.
2 different cruise lines, 2 different airlines.
2 different ports getting on and off. Well, 4 different ports getting on and off. So wait a minute,
no, there's more than that. 1, 2.
Baltimore twice, Fort Lauderdale, San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 ports. Debarkation ports.
No. 3 ports is in Louisiana.
He's on one today, and he really is. So who are you sailing with?
The first one is on Enchantment of the Seas, Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
That's the Baltimore one. Which,
yeah.
I'm worried about the weather on this one because it's sailing from Baltimore in the middle of February. It's not particularly good planning on my part. And then I get on the Zandam for the Panama Canal cruise. So I'll be another Holland America cruise. Then later in the year, I'm going to Alaska on another Holland America cruise.
Wow.
Not that I've been getting bargains from Holland America, but I've been getting bargains from Holland America. And I like Holland America. I love their food. I love their entertainment. The ships aren't all the bells and whistles that you get on, the newer ships and stuff.
It depends what you're going for, doesn't it?
It's a good, solid ship, and the food. To me, if any ship specializes in food, it's Holland America ships.
Right. I mean, have we done Holland America? No, I don't think we have actually. No, we haven't. No, we've not done Holland America.
Yeah. And they have a lobster trap yet, don't they, on the Holland America?
Yeah.
They have, but I've never had lobster on Norwegian. I've never had lobster on Royal Caribbean. I've never had lobster on Carnival.
Right.
I don't know if I'm just unlucky or, was seasick that day or what, but I've never seen it come up on Norwegian on the Epic.
What, on the main menu? In the main
Right,
restaurant, you
that's,
mean?
yeah. I mean, I'm a main dining room guy, except I do Cagney's. On the Epic, I do Cagney's and I do the chorizo just because they're fun. But I'm generally a main dining room guy. I mean,
Mm.
the old
There
Lutheran.
also the latest from Norwegian in the main dining room, which I was not happy about. No shrimp cocktails either.
Ooh, that's a bad move.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Oh.
I'm always good for one or two shrimp cocktails
It's funny because you can
at
buy
every
jumbo
meal.
shrimp by the ton for
Mm.
really
But
inexpensively.
they took it off the main dining rooms now. At
Yeah,
least on Breakaway,
yeah.
because that's the one I just got off of. So I never saw lobster and I never saw shrimp.
Wow.
See, and I never saw a lobster that I didn't like, so
Yeah, well, I did 2 specialty dinings with the package that I had, and we went to La Cucina one night, which is of course Italian. And what was the other one we did? We did teppanyaki. Now I've done teppanyaki on
but
a bunch of ships and land, and on Norwegian Breakaway, it was maybe the best teppanyaki I've been in.
Wow.
It was just outstanding. I mean, they're good anyway, but this was a step above the normal. And then on La Cucina, I had I don't know, a crazy appetizer, salmon. I don't know, it was something with raw salmon in it, which I liked. And then I ordered lasagna appetizer.
What?
I'm thinking it's a little taste of lasagna. And then I had ordered ossobuco for my main course. The lasagna came and it was bigger than a brick. It was like this thick, and it was huge. It was more than I could eat as an entree anytime.
Wow.
And that was the appetizer. What the hell do they serve for the main course? Ordered lasagna.
Jeez, it would be like a roasting dish full of it.
Yeah.
It sounds
But it was
fun.
good.
Why do we
Food
end up?
was great.
Well, I hate it when we do these calls because it's like little tea time over here, and I'm not eating, and like I'm salivating here, and my lips are going nom nom nom. Well, it's spag bowl. I'm having a spag bowl tonight that Stan's downstairs making with some garlic bread and
A
cheese.
spat's ball. Is what you
Spaghetti
say?
bolognese.
Oh,
Spag bowl. You
They
must have heard it
always-
called a spag bowl.
Nope, that's
Oh.
new to us. Yeah.
I was certainly thinking. Never mind what I was thinking.
No, well, in English isn't what, as some people call it. It is, yeah. But spaghetti bolognese is known as spag bowl. Over here.
I understand spaghetti bolognese.
By the way, folks, if you are eating in La Cucina on any Norwegian ship, know that although it's described as an Italian restaurant, and they have one of the best tenderloins. The tenderloin in there is as good as the tenderloin up at Cagney's, and they've got an 8-ounce tenderloin. It's just that it comes, with sides of Italian sides instead of what you would get in a steakhouse. And like you said you had ossobuco, which again, they do it a la Milanese, but a braised veal shank to me is not an Italian menu.
No.
Right.
But God, is it good. I've had both of them. And then if you like scallopini, if you like real veal, which, is pretty, I don't know how it is over there for you, Martin, but getting real veal, and I don't mean the kind that was milk fed and, mistreated. I mean the new safe and sane and humane veal. But even getting that in America is difficult.
No,
And they
you don't
got a
get.
scallop.
Veal's not a very big thing over here, to be honest.
Yeah.
In the main supermarket, you can't get it. You know, it's
You can
very,
get,
very, very posh ones like Waitrose and Sainsbury's. You may get it, but
sure.
your standard Asda, Walmart, Tesco sort of places for people that are in the UK will know. Very much like your Walmart, because it was part of the group of some boys that you never get them there.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm telling
no,
you, folks. So if you have an upscale dining ticket, and you get to go to La Cucina as one of the choices, don't order pasta. I'm sorry, but pasta costs them $3. Spend your coupon and get one of these fine servings menu items that they have. Because I'm telling you, and this is not a complaint or a criticism, but the pasta in La Cucina for $30 is the same pasta that's up in the buffet.
yeah.
But
I mean, let's be
can't
honest.
get
I mean, pasta is
scallopini.
pasta, isn't it? Pasta is pasta. It's just got
Pasta
a different
is
sauce or a different meat with it. Different
right.
herbs. Whereas meat, you get a good cut of meat and nice veg, and it makes the meal, I think.
You get the right butcher, and Norwegian. I got to tell you, in my world travels, I've just not been let down by Norwegian's butcher shop. The meat that I've gotten in any upscale restaurant has been phenomenal. That's the French La Bistro, Cagney's, the La Cucina, or the Brazilian Steakhouse. But the trick in the Brazilian Steakhouse, and this is not just for Norwegian, but anywhere, is you got to be in control and pace yourself, because they're going to bring around chicken thighs, and they're going to bring around pork tenderloin, and they're going to bring around everything that they can feed you that you'll accept
6 or 7, 8 times
before the tenderloin gets there.
Yeah.
You have to be strong. You have to reach down into your heart and say, no, I'm going to wait. Thank you. And it's not the server's faults, because they've been instructed to do that. This is how the place, stays in business, makes a living, is selling you the cheaper cuts. It still tastes really good, but by God, Brazilian steakhouses in America, not on the ship, but in America, they're about $50 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, for $50, I'm not eating chicken thighs.
Yeah. No. Cindy is getting ready to go on the Escape. She has Ocean Blue and La Bistro booked.
Okay.
I've not eaten an Ocean Blue, but I love La Bistro.
Oh, and the big thing about La Bistro is, especially if you eat with a variety of people, they bring everybody's servings to the table under stainless steel domes, and then there's the big reveal. And it's just really nice. I mean, I understand it's just still food, but it's just really nice. I was there the time, remember a few years ago, I was invited to the captain's table. And, so there was like 12 of us around the table, and they served all of these dishes, and all of a sudden, on somebody's command, whoosh. And here's this fragrant, all the steam and the fragrance of each dish is just kind of hitting you. And it was just beyond measure. Just really nice.
And then you really starve.
I'm just trying to find out. We have
smelling all the good stuff.
Well, and here's a trick too. What? Oh, what's he doing? He's contemplating. What?
No, go on. Carry on.
Okay. Also, you need to know that on the Norwegian line, and I speak about Norwegian because that's my experience, but the French onion soup in Cagney's is different than the French onion soup in La Bistro.
Yeah.
Like where I'm telling you the pasta is the pasta, but I'm telling you, for some reason, there's 3 kinds of French onion soup on the big Norwegian ships, and I like them all. There's not one that's better than the only thing we think that it's Courvoisier that's added to the one in Le Bistro. Trying to redo it at home, that little bit of Courvoisier adds a little sweetness undertone and a multi-layered, fruit. Not that onion soup tastes fruity, but it's just one of the undertones. And it's different than we think in Cagney's. They're using red wine as one of the bases. But for sure, if you're an onion soup aficionado, that's your big word for today. And if you can spell it, you get a discount. But if you're an aficionado, the Norwegian Cruise Line is the place to slurp up beautiful homemade French onion soup.
Yeah. Wow. I had a couple efforts at French onion soup this past week, and they were good.
Hey,
I'm just looking at.
Overall, uh, Norwegian Breakaway, I didn't have a whole lot of complaints on that ship total. Yeah, there are a couple accessibility issues, but they're even better from an accessible standpoint than any ship I've been on so far.
hey.
So
Mm.
it was. I mean, there's still a few things which you'll notice.
And I don't
if
think
you
Martin
pick up
knows
on.
about your changing the industry down in New Orleans. That you actually made a change for every handicapped person that's going to go out of New Orleans.
What
I
did
was
you do?
able to get a concession from Norwegian that starting probably next week, they will be able to get the scoot-around scooters at the curb, not in the cabin on the ship.
Okay.
So you don't have to go through all that crap with wheelchairs and getting pushed up the gangways and across the bumps. And it's a
It'd be more
pain in the.
independent.
And the same thing when you get off the ship. You'll be able
Yeah.
to get your scooter. Well, I say at the curb, but at least at the terminal, which they've always brought it to me at the curb. And then I can
So
go
wonderful.
on board. I go through the security and everything at my own pace. I get on board the ship as I feel like it. And then I've got the scooter because quite often the cabins are not ready. But I've got the scooter that I can go anywhere on the ship until
Doesn't
the cabins
matter
are
then.
ready.
Yep.
It makes such a difference.
I
So-
understand that the next thing they're going to do is on the back of the ship, they're actually going to have like a diving board, a plank made for the scoot around. So if you want to depart the ship at any moment,
You
just
just
go
go
up.
walk the plank.
You just go up to, while you roll the plank. But yes,
Scoot the plank.
you just go up to 14 and away you go.
An inward 2.5 on a scooter is a little challenging.
But it's a marvel to see. You know, it just
It
really.
is.
I think it's going to become an Olympic sport actually after a while.
Yeah.
So yeah.
God. So, well, what I like about most cruise lines is for people who do have a scooter, they don't have to have an accessible cabin. Over here, P&O Cruises have to have an accessible cabin, but we found out lately in the last couple of days that there are now some grades that they have graded cabins that you're taking a foldable scooter, you can take it into a standard cabin, so you don't have to have the accessible cabin, because their ruling was you have to have the accessible cabin whether you needed it or not. Because you were taking a scooter, you had to have it. So these are on, I think it's on Arvia and possibly Iona, but I haven't looked on Iona yet. So, which is great, because there's a lot of people out there that want to take the scooter on board that can't, because the accessible cabins get booked up so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, which is wrong, because there are people that do need those accessible cabins, and yet they're full with people who don't need them but wanted to take a scooter. It's a wrong way of doing things. I really don't agree with that.
Right.
You know,
No, I don't either. As long as, I mean, the people that need an accessible cabin need to have access to the accessible cabins.
Mm-hmm. If your scooter or your electric wheelchair, if that fits through the door and you understand it has to be stored in your cabin, why can you not just use a standard cabin?
I've used cabins numerous times before. As long as it'll fit through the door, I'm okay. I can deal with not having a roll-in shower simply because I am partially ambulatory. And I can walk, into the bathroom, and I don't necessarily have to have a roll-in shower.
This is the point. There are people that do need that.
There are people that clearly have to have that. Yeah.
And now you can leave that for them. You're not taking one of those when you don't need it.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of it was to do with the amount of scooters on board, because you saw a big increase, in the last 10 years or so. You should have people taking them and using them to get around and things. And I think it was getting to a point where they didn't want that many on board. But now, I think at the end of the day, you've got things need to change. Life changes for people. And if I'm in a scooter and it's foldable, it goes in my cabin, why can't I take it? What's the big difference? What hardship is it to the cruise line?
Well, Ron Pettit, who's the special needs coordinator for Royal Caribbean, has told me that the two largest, fastest growing segments in the cruise world currently are number one, solo cabins, and number two, or solo travelers, and number two, disabled travelers. You know, that growth right now is far greater than growth of any other elements in the cruise industry. So, and it's because a lot of people now have always been afraid, especially from the accessible community. They've been afraid to try it, and they're now seeing fools like me to get out there and do it, just to show that, man, come on, you can too. So
I really think that, you know, go all the way back to the Pete show that we first started. I think that you've been a part of that, Chillie, is letting people know, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, absolutely.
It's really
That's
neat.
why I've never hidden my disabilities. I've never hidden my health issues.
Well, you shouldn't need to. You shouldn't need to hide a disability at all.
If anybody was going to stay home and feel sorry for themselves, it easily could have been me.
And not all disabilities are visible. Not all disabilities are visible either.
Right.
You know, people have got to realise that as well.
Yep.
Well, I do remember going back to when I took my mum on that cruise, and I'll tell you what, using that scooter, Chillie, oh geez, I think I've still got bruises now where she ran over my toes that many times, and trying to get out of those cabins, and when she took out the table in the Zoomy on the ship and knocked over one of the waiters, and that was before she'd had a drink. You know what I mean? I mean, it was an experience. It was an experience, you know, and I'm glad I did it, you know, because I see what people who do use wheelchairs and scooters, I see what they go through, and I see the, you know, the issues that they would have. But we had a ball. It was good fun and things.
And then
you
Mark,
will always remember
you're in a
that
situation as a TA where you're going to have customers that will be scooter users, that will be power chair users, that will be manual chair users. And all three have different needs and things that they have to look out for.
Yeah.
So, you know, a TA needs to be, you know, equally as concerned with accessibility as I am.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, you know, the accessibility, I mean, chips are getting better as they go along, but still, they're not, I don't think they're quite where they should be. You know, there's still some things. We've had the conversation about river cruising, how that's not accessible, but that one, I don't think that level in Europe, that level changed because that's the rivers. You can't do a lot about the rivers, you know.
Just give us time.
What are you going to do? Redesign the Danube?
Well, actually, I'm on an advisory panel that we are working on coming up with a functional design for European river cruises. We know that you got the bridge issues, but
I think the only thing after doing them, the only thing I think is the issue for wheelchair users and scooters is the docking. You know, because I mean, we've walked up. You've probably seen me on some of my pictures. It's like that. It's hard enough to walk up it. Never mind if you're in a wheelchair to try and get up there. I mean, the only way I could see is by using the lift that they use to take off the ramp to literally put somebody in that and move them across onto in an arm.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be the only way.
Well,
you know,
that's one of the things we're looking at.
Give me, I'm telling you, give me some aluminum and a welder, and I will solve that problem. without any weight, without any significant weight added to the ship or anything. That is a fixable thing. It just takes a little ingenuity, and it might take, you know, a welder in the middle of North America in Minnesota or North Dakota, but I'm telling you, that can happen. It just takes that next little kick, that next little thought, and the demonstration that if you do, you know, it's the field of dreams. Build it, and they will come. And especially,
it's also a health and safety issue though with that, isn't it? If you've got somebody in a wheelchair that's dangling across the river, you know, trying to get across, that's a safety issue, I think.
That's what they do on cruise ships to get disabled people in swimming pools or hot tubs.
It's
but I mean, if you look at a river,
they're in a hoist chair. Then you're out there swinging back and forth.
But I mean, looking at the rivers, though, you're going to be like 50 feet, 100 feet across on a thing, just going across. It'd be a great ride. It'd be like the North Star on Anthem of the Seas.
Sure.
A bit like that sort of thing. You'd have to have a K. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get around.
But you're being a naysayer now, Martin. You're being we're going to solve this problem. These are problems we can fix. I understand there's challenges. I understand it's things, but don't be a naysayer. This is think about the day that you could announce that, wheelchairs or certain scoot-arounds are now available for this river cruise. God, they'd be lined up down the block, around the corner, and 3 stories up in the parking garage.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not saying never, but it's a hard one. It's a very hard problem to solve. And I look and think with all these rivers.
We're actively working on it. I can just say that. We have regular meetings, and it's some pretty big time people. A CEO of one of the river cruise lines.
Yeah,
cool.
A major executive with one of the regular cruise lines. A ship designer. And 3 of us from the disability community.
Right. Oh, well, watch this space, eh?
Well, we're like I say.
The biggest thing they got to do is change the song, though, because it's going to have to be women and children and scoot around first.
It'll bring it a whole new meaning to that record, won't it? Rolling down the river.
Rolling down the river. Oh, God, there's the theme song. You got it, Martin.
That's it.
We got to get it while Tina is still alive. We got Tina Turner in her own skirt around.
Here's the one that aggravates me almost as much as the river cruises in Europe. We've got all these wonderful river ships being built in the United States for the United States rivers that have elevators. So just by its nature are accessible. Okay? They all have one, count them, one accessible cabin. Now, what the hell is that?
But you see, and this, Martin, I've had this discussion with Chillie. Here's the problem. They have about 100 rooms. They have 1 handicap. That's 1%. The Epic has 4,000 rooms, give or take. I'm just pulling numbers here. And they've got about 40 rooms. It's 1%. I mean, it's there's
it's
lies.
hard because if that cabin doesn't sell to a person that needs an accessible cabin, and they've held it off, they potentially lost business the other way. But then if you have too many and they don't sell, it's then what people want those kind of cabins because there's a lot more space, things are lower down. It's getting that happy medium, isn't it? That happy balance of like the ship being able to generate the revenue it needs to do, as well as having the accessibility, being accessible to all, which everything should be. I think it's an ongoing problem and issue, and I think it'll eventually get there. I mean,
I'm still hoping that these people need to understand that they need to let the accessible community know that these ships have an accessible cabin, if it's only one. So, okay, put me on one of those boats and let me tell the world about it. I'd be perfectly happy with that.
I just want to see Chillie in a lift to be 40, 50 feet in the air, being lifted onto the banks in Vienna or something like that.
Hell, I went up that damn mountain in Alaska in the middle of the snow and ice.
I would pay good money to be on land as you're swaying around.
If I could
that would be funny. I would like
do
that.
It.
I would like that.
Absolutely, I would do it.
Yeah, but is it really wrong to say, with it being you, Chillie, and us being friends, that you'd just be hoping that something happened to be able to be sold on one of these camera shows?
Hell, I don't care.
We'll make $250 each off it.
Yeah, okay. That's better than I'm making now.
We split it 3 ways.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
No, but no, it is. It is hard, and travel should be accessible to everyone around the world, and no matter what disability that you have, visible or not visible, you should be able to
I will
be.
say, and again, I mean, I fussed at Norwegian a lot this past year for a lot of things that I disagreed with. When I sat down, let's see, that was last Friday, with the special needs coordinator on the breakaway. We chatted for probably a little over an hour. The man took copious notes. I mean, he took notes. He asked thoughtful questions of everything that I told him as I went through everything that was good, bad, and indifferent from an accessible standpoint on the breakaway. It was a wonderful, wonderful meeting with this gentleman. Now, that's no guarantee that they fix anything other than the one thing that he's fixing, which is to scoot around in New Orleans. I mean, that's a major step in the right direction for anybody that sails from New Orleans.
It's a start, though. If they've listened to one thing, then that shows they're open to criticism and feedback, and they want to help. Which is good. Kudos to NCL for doing that. I mean, and hopefully every other cruise line will take on more. Any feedback from anybody that has any accessible needs, and change it for the greater good of everybody.
Yep. Well, it was a great meeting. I was tickled pink. So.
Excellent.
Anyway, it was a good time. Now we're going to go start a new ship. Of course, Royal Caribbean I'm not so worried about because they have Ron Pettit. I mean, he's in charge of the whole cruise line, so he's pretty good about this stuff. He's a wheelchair user himself.
Yeah, so there's somebody there that they know then, don't they? Yeah, they've got a first-hand expert.
He's on speed dial. So if I have a problem on a ship, I've been told, you call me. You don't worry about anybody else. You call me. I said, okay, Ron, I'll be happy to do that. So,
yeah.
Excellent. No, it's all good.
Yeah. So you don't sail again until when? April or something?
I know. No,
I mean, that's going to be so long. I mean, your hair's going to grow and stuff.
I know. I've had to shave it God knows how many times. Yeah, no, 27th of April is the next cruise. I am away in March. I'm on a family trip. I am going to Doha in Qatar with one of our suppliers for 4 nights.
Oh, very nice.
So I've never been that part of the world, so it's all new to me. It was a big decision for me as well, whether to go or not, because of the LGBT issues, and also everything that went on with the World Cup and things like that. And from a moral point of view, it was really hard to make a decision, but I made a decision on behalf of the business because what I feel might not be right. Other people do travel there, ships go there. Clients want to go there. I can't force my beliefs or what I believe on other people. So I decided from a business point of view, I wanted to go and do it and experience it so I could bring it to life for anybody that does want to go, and to be honest, I bet you the people are lovely. It's just certain little aspects of life. In any country, it's all different, so, but that was a real hard one for me, whether to do it or not. And, whether I get called and hauled for it, I don't know. But at the end of the day, for me, I felt it was the right business decision and things. So would I personally choose to go there? Most probably not, if I'm honest. It's not a personal choice, but, you have to do things to learn and find things out and whatnot, and learn and experience these things to be able to bring it to life for people. So, but yeah, that's, I think, the 14th to the 18th of March, 13th to the 18th. We're away on that with one of our suppliers, gold medal. Then April we're away, then nothing in May or June at the moment, and then July
come over here.
We're off over to the US, big grand old US of A. So we'll see what we still haven't planned what we're doing on that yet. We need to. Hubby keeps saying we need to sit down and talk about it. I'm like, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow, and never get around to it. And I'm a travel agent, Even worse, I'm the travel agent, you know.
You do have the dates for Seaside, right?
Yeah, there was a seaside I was looking at, I think, out of Port Canaveral. I think it was a 3 or a 4 nighter. It was only going Ocean Cay and back again. It wasn't going anywhere spectacular, but yeah, that's on my radar to do. He's a big space person, so I'm thinking about Cape Canaveral and going over and doing the Kennedy Space Center, and he wants to do Star Wars and things like that.
That's a day right there.
Yeah. I've been there. I'm lucky enough to have lunch with an astronaut over there, and I'm still in awe. And we're talking 20 years ago, you know, and I'm still in awe of the fact that I spoke to one of the very few people that have been up in space, you know, and had lunch with them and a good conversation with them. And it's like, wow, you know, so it is that awe of like, wow. And, you know, but I mean, yeah, we don't know what we're doing yet. All we know is we've got our flights are booked from, I think it's the 3rd to the 17th we fly back, or third to the 17th. So we've got 2 weeks to plan stuff in around and see where we go from there. Just, I don't know, because he's not a big theme park person as such like me. I mean, I love them, but then I don't think we've got enough time to do everything, because I think you need 2 or 3 weeks just to do Universal, you know, and Disney World and all the other parks further down, you know, in Florida. So you haven't got, so it'd be interesting. We just haven't.
There's about a dozen in Orlando alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe go alligator hunting, you know, on the airboats. I quite fancy doing that. I've done that once. That was it. That was fun. You know, just the fact of being sat on that boat.
Did you eat any gator while you were here?
No, I've not while I was there, but I have eaten alligator before, an alligator steak. So it was different. It was different.
I like gator steaks.
So, but yeah. So we need to sit and plan that, and then nothing else in the diary at the moment. So we just need to get something. I'm hoping Virgin comes up with the Resilient Lady. That there's plans to do that. Do Greece. Whether that comes off or not, I don't know whether we'll do it or not. But yeah, no, nothing. Really quiet year so far. So, but I think it's a weird year in travel, because I don't know about over there, but travel has exploded over here.
It's an unusual time. It's a transition year. Yes, I agree. That's what I hear from everybody.
Yeah, me as a company, I'm 40% up this year on where I was last year already. And we're only it's going into the second week of February. You know, 40% is a lot. You know, as long as that, fingers crossed, we have no issues, no problems, and everything travels great. You know, it's going to be good. But
so you can pay the rent then.
Well, fingers crossed. Pay the rent. So it won't be able to heat the house because it's so bloody expensive.
But at least you'll be renting. Hey guys, it's 12:53. I got to get the store open.
Go for it.
Always good to talk to you, Martin. You guys keep chatting. Everybody that's listening, have a wonderful, safe time. We'll see you again next week, if not sooner. So,
bye, John.
See, John. Happy pot selling.
So there you go. There you go. So, well, have we got any more comments or anything, Chillie? What's
Cindy just said one. Anyone ever do Wands Around World Tour or Behind the Ship Tour as a Platinum NCL guest? No, I have not. I've done the Behind the Ship tours before, and they're excellent. But I have not as a Platinum, if that's something more special, and then they, do the poor schleppers like me.
Cindy, go and do it. Go and do it, and to report back to us and tell us if there's anything different for Platinum than anybody else.
I would definitely. I'd do both and report back. Cindy knows. She's going to report back to me. She's going to send me some pictures too, because I steal them all and put them on the show. Yeah. Cindy and I had a terrific time on, as a matter of fact, on the Carnival Paradise.
Now that's Carnival's one. My friend's just come back. He did. Was it Carnival Conquest? I think it might be. No, it might have been Conquest.
I'm on the Conquest this fall.
It was out of Miami. He did 3 nights, and then he did Seascape. He had a couple of days off on land, and then did Seascape. Now he's never done Carnival, and he said he probably wouldn't do it again. It wasn't his cup of tea, and whereas this MSC was great, although the spinny thing round, whatever it's called, wasn't working for all week. So he wasn't impressed with that. But yeah, he did. I had a good time. But yeah, Carnival, I've not done Carnival, but some great offers over here actually for one of the Carnival ships. That's the Pride, Carnival Pride's over here for summer. Some Norwegian fjords trips. I mean, they were knocking them out for about £700.
Yeah.
It's like really good deals. So,
well, you know, I started with Carnival 100 years ago when that was the only thing, if you were wealthy, it's the only thing you could cruise on.
Right.
So I don't know. I did 23 or 24 Carnival cruises. The only thing I have against Carnival now, as I've gotten older, is it's much more of a party ship than this old fat body can do the partying.
I think he said that. Yeah, it was for lots of like party people, weekend people, and things like that.
Well,
you know?
and then a weekender on top of that. You know, the 3-dayers are going to be, you know, exceptional parties. So
yeah, but that's like any shore cruise, isn't it? You get a lot of party people on, stag parties, hen parties, gangs of friends and things. So if you go on one of them and you've never been on a cruise, I wouldn't even think of looking at that as being a cruise. You need to go on at least a week's cruise to get a good feel. But at least the taster gives you an idea of what a cruise is about. So
and see what I'm trying this year. You know, because last year in doing 21 cruises, I'm not going to do as many cruises this year, but I'm probably going to end up with more days because I'm doing longer cruises. I'm doing, you know, I'm doing an 8, then a 14. I've got 111 and 112, I think, already booked.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I don't know what we'll probably have a few in, but we just haven't got anything planned in. I think we might do a bit of a late offering, and I might go and have a look at a few cruise lines I've not been with, you know, when they've got some late deals out, and go and experience them and get, you know, I mean, we had a cracking one for Azamara the other day. Azamara, I don't know if you saw it on my page, but it was less than £1,000.
That's a good deal for them. One of my regulars, I think she got into Buenos Aires early this morning, is sailing from Buenos Aires. Knowing her, it's tomorrow. She normally has at least a day, sometimes 2 days before cruises. But she's doing one of my bucket lists on Azamara in South America. So I'll definitely be following her the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, that's and I've been given some advice. I mean, you know, I've made no bones about it. I'm trying to turn this into an operation that, you know, at least pays for some of my cruising as opposed to coming out of my pocket. And I've made no bones about the fact that Scootaround, I'm now an ambassador for Scootaround, and I get my scooters now. You know, I don't have to pay for them. So that, while I don't make any money doing that, it saves me some money, and I certainly do appreciate that. So, folks, when I'm talking about Scootaround, I'm talking about somebody that I've dealt with for 9 years now. So I know Scootaround inside out and backwards. It's the only way I can cruise. Excellent. But I was given some advice that what I need to do on some of the boutique cruises and cruises like Azamara, they're higher end, or like the Seven Seas, or you know, some of those, is just approach their PR people and say, look, I have never been able to afford cruising on your ships. And I do accessibility studies. And then I let my community know about the accessibility on the ships. And if you would like to let the accessibility people know about whether your ships are accessible or not, if you ever come up with any kind of deal that you can offer me, just let me know. I'd love to come on your ships and do a study and talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, I go out and trying to get a free cruise out of it. That's what everybody does. But if you approach it from that standpoint, then maybe they come back and either give me a decent deal or something. Maybe get a free one out of it. That would be terrific.
You never know. You never know. Well, can I just put something out there as we're coming to the end of the hour, which we manage? We've actually been here for an hour for once instead of not being here or jumping out or wherever. If there's anybody on who would give my page a like, I've got a target at the moment to hit 4,000 people. I'm about 400 off. And I think it'll be a big milestone for me. So if you give us a follow, a like on there, because I'd like to see a few more people on there and just help promote me. That's all, because with your word of mouth, it goes a long way. Not you individually, Chillie, but anybody out there who recommends a agent it's worth its weight in gold. So please do give us a follow. I'm taking up the minute. Sorry.
Oh, it's quite all right, Martin. You deserve to get a plug in too. What the hell? So,
well, if Scoot's around can have a plug, I'm having a plug.
Absolutely.
At Martin's Holiday Village.
Martin's Holiday Village. Absolutely. And you made it through this hour without getting interrupted with a phone call.
Exactly. It's good. I've turned it off tonight. I was like,
okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this week, folks. Thanks for joining the Cruise Amigo. Martin, it's always as good to see you. And we'll see everybody next Thursday, which will be then the following week, I'll be on a boat again.
Bit of change.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's going to wrap us up for today. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
So long, everybody.